accept the motion to approve. Motion by David, second. Second by Jeff. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Consideration of bills and warrants. That's 4.0. That's items 5 through 32 in your packet. Any questions? Discussion of items for the bills and warrants. Motion by David to approve the bills and warrants.
Second.
Second by Joanne. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Hearing requests and suggestions from citizens and organizations. Anyone in the audience who is not on the agenda? Does not look like it. So we'll move to 6.0 and we'll go to C, Design and Construction Services presentation regarding a bus barn contract. And this is Taylor.
This is Taylor.
Well, glad to hear from you.
Okay, just
Right
right,
there.
have a seat right
Have a seat
there.
right there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, we were invited tonight by Lori, and we've also spoke with Roger before, but came to visit with you guys a little bit tonight about how our company's structured, how we go to market, and what we may be able to do to help you guys out. I brought a few pieces of propaganda here if you need some sleeping material in the future. But I'm Taylor Durr with DCS, and I'm a 25% partner in DCS. We provide design and construction solutions to school districts, state and local government, and we do a little bit in the private sector, but our main focus is state and local government and K-12 education. We are partners of the Greenbush organization, and we have the construction management contract for the state of Kansas. So what that does is it allows us to help any school, state and local government entity go through the bid process and vet their vendors and the process to make sure that we can bring their projects in on time and on budget. So we met Lori through Tina Smith with Greenbush, and she said that you guys are looking at potentially doing a bus barn addition. So what we would do is we could run this through the Greenbush process. We would get an architect and structural engineer involved, put the whole team together, and basically develop the design documents with input from the whoever Lori would like to take this project out to bid. At that point, we'd advertise it in the paper, and then make sure that we have qualified vendors that come in, put proposals together, and then we bring it back to you guys and provide a turnkey solution. So I guess the main thing would be, do you guys have any questions? What are you looking for? I ran through this really fast. It's just,
You provide on-site supervision of the project?
We do. We would handle, so on a project like yours, it would be mainly like a metal building contractor and concrete contractor, maybe some light electrical and things of that nature. So we would have those individual trades down here on site all the time, and then I check on the projects multiple times a week as needed to make sure that everything's getting completed on time.
What are your qualifications or experiences that enable you to do these tasks?
I take care of all of our day-to-day operations. I'm project manager. I have my general contracting license in the state of Kansas through Wichita. And then one of my partners has a mechanical contracting license. So that's kind of where we fit into that's why we fit into the K-12 market a lot, because we do light general contracting and then mechanical.
So what projects similar to ours have you done recently nearby, within 150 miles?
We've done a lot of work with Altoona and Brent Kempy. Right now, well, we did his parking lots and new HVAC renovation to the high school about a year ago. And then we're working with him right now on some other things that are similar to this, a little breezeway addition and light electrical, and then some casework things. So, but we work, farther west of here, we do a lot of work in western Kansas, doing some window replacement project for Comanche County down in Coldwater. Out in Ingalls, Kansas, we're doing a smaller bond issue, about $1 million. It's going to be HVAC, windows, and roofing repair. And then I was working with Greg Mann. I don't know, Lori probably knows him, up in Stockton today. We're working through an HVAC renovation in the Stockton area. So I know that's farther than 150 miles, but we also did a nice project for Cherryville. We did a VRF renovation to their high school.
What's a VRF?
It's a variable refrigerant flow, so it's new air conditioning and heating system.
Anything recently in proximity that has to do with bus goings or buses?
Well, not necessarily buses in particular. I just finished a small addition that was kind of pre-engineered building type in Wichita at Eisenhower International Airport. Bevan Raybell is a small airplane service company, and we added on to their hangar, and it was a pre-engineered metal building type structure.
And then in Clearwater, was it Clearwater when you were here last?
Yeah, we are working with Conway Springs School
Conway Springs,
District,
that's-
and they have, they're doing a larger bond issue of about 10 million. And one of the parts that will be a part of that project is a new bus barn at that facility. We haven't completed that yet, but we're in the middle of design with GLMB Architecture on that project to try to get that to go through.
Help me out again. What is the relationship with your company and Greenbush?
So we are a Greenbush vendor. So what Greenbush does is they go out and they pre-vet services through their contract for the state. So no different if you guys were to buy paper or pencils or school supplies or food service. We've gone through that same process through the construction management process, so that if you guys need to do construction services, you can call us and rest assured that we've been vetted out through the Greenbush process to handle your project.
And so then you would take care of the entire project?
Yep, we'll provide project management oversight. We'll handle all of the subcontractors and then act as your general contractor, construction project manager for this project.
And your fee for this?
Well, our fees vary on all sizes of projects because we do all sizes of projects from 50,000 to, 5 million. So on a project of this size, our target would probably be about right at 10%, 5% overhead and 5% profit. So
So whatever our project would cost, about 10% of that we could add.
You bet, yeah.
And that would cover all the work.
Yeah. And the thing that, kind of makes our process a little bit different is when we only get the contract or the specialty contractors involved that need to be involved. So if you guys are going to do roofs or something like that, you don't need to get an architect involved. If you have, lifting mechanical units and replacing your roof and doing several different things, then we just need to get those specific guys involved. We feel that that's an extra 7% on top of the standard fee that you're already going to pay for 10% for your contractor. That's kind of added expense that you guys could take that money and go do something else. So we've found, we'll be honest with you, there's several architects that don't like that, but we found several that buy in and say, yeah, you guys bring us to opportunities where it's viable for us to be involved, and we're happy that you're out selling the service.
So do we feel like at this point in time we'll be building, or are we going to be doing some type of renovation on some type of standing structure?
We've not been able to find a standing structure in town that's adequate, that would meet the requirements and the needs. We can't There is no statute that allows us to purchase property and/or a building outside of our 503 attendance boundaries, which does limit some of those other big buildings that, a redesign or a renovation might have worked. It doesn't appear that that's really going to be feasible here in town. Doesn't appear that there's anything, our realtor has worked on that. We did go and see, what did we see, one building?
One, and that would have been the perfect building.
Oh, yeah, we saw two. One within the city limits, or within our district boundaries, that wouldn't work. And then there was another one that we were like, oh, wow, this could work. However, when I called KSDE and spoke with Craig Newswander, we can't legally purchase that because it's just right outside of the 503 attendance boundaries.
But could we annex that area? What's the deal for annexing? See, that, I never did get a straight answer on that.
And I do not know.
You'd have to get that school district to yield the
Agree.
property,
Right.
probably a swap in value, adjacent property.
And I have not
But
approached them about
but it's a perfect,
annex.
it bounds us on two sides. One side for sure, the other side by the street. But we went out to look at it because James went with us, and it was a perfect building, and so that's why
It's not. So, and I'm not sure the process of annexing something with another school district and how long that would take or anything like that.
Well, and like I said, we do remodel and new construction, so whatever you guys have decided to do, if you already have a fixed budget that you'd like to kind of stick to, we work with people all the time and kind of back into their budgets and lay everything out. We're transparent so that everybody can see, where you're spending your money and why things cost this much, or why, we have to spend an extra $10,000 here or whatever. So I don't know if you guys are interested in this, but I did go ahead and call a company out of Wichita that does pre-engineered metal buildings. And the cost, and this is erected with concrete, is around $100,000 for a 50 by 100 building.
Which is what we.
The overall cost of the building erected was about $13.50 a square foot, and that's bare bones with no doors. And then, we added another 25 grand in there for concrete, because we're gonna have to beef up the footings for the uplift, because it's in where we talked, it kind of faces the north.
Right.
And so that's gonna be actually a little more expensive for the concrete package if it doesn't have doors. So, those are the types of things through the budgeting process that we can, keep you guys apprised of and let you know what's going on with it, so we can make sure that you're making the right decisions. If you're gonna spend the extra money, maybe it does make sense to put the doors on. So, anyway.
So one of the questions I guess I have is, who exactly is going to be telling us what we really need for a bus barn? What specifications are really required to
Sure.
have us?
So, in this instance, I would recommend getting an architect involved. We don't need an architect to go out and do a full-blown spec book and 100%, 20 pages of drawings. We need the basic specifications on page notes, and we need the basic drawing of the building. And then we'll come back to you guys and we'll fill in the blanks based on your guys' needs. So we would get, maybe there's a local architect that you guys would like to work with. If not, we have several contacts that we could bring in and come down, sit down, talk to you guys, and kind of develop the scope of the work with your involvement.
So do we have anybody that's experienced and educated enough to be able to tell us exactly what our bus barn needs to have?
Anyone sitting here right now?
No.
I was just saying. And that would be one of the benefits to having this group do the service, because they're going to know the people that know the specifications.
Sure.
And that know the requirements.
Okay.
And they,
Like, the architect will know all the codes and what the do's and don'ts of what we can and can't do. But, James is going to have input on, if there's maintenance areas or things like that, floor drains, just talking with you guys and your staff and figuring out, what kind of activities are going to take place in there, just besides parking the bus, is going to answer a lot of those questions. So,
And I just don't know if we do have that because we've never, well, in recent history, we don't have any experience with,
Right.
managing our own buses.
We don't.
So
Sure.
that's my concern is getting into this and then, yes, I understand an architect can tell us, yes, do this, do not do that, but it would be nice if somebody educated had the experience, well, you really need to put this bay over here compared to this side because of this reasoning. That's, I guess, the point I'm trying to make and figure
They'll
out
have a
who
pretty
can
good
bring that
baseline.
to the table.
They'll have a pretty good baseline on that stuff, just for the simple fact that this isn't the first one that they've designed. And they take comment, and believe me, when things aren't the way that people like them, they hear about it. So they'll, from past history, they'll have a pretty good idea of
Okay.
what will fit your needs. So,
So have you guys seen any bus barns around here? Visited any bus barns?
No, as a group, we have not, no.
I mean, I get what you're getting at now.
At what point at what point in this process are we hiring our transportation director who might have hopefully some experience in busing and bus barns and so forth? I mean, if we can find someone who's got experience, at what point are we looking at that process?
Hoping sometime in April.
Okay.
How long does it take to do a project like this?
well, honestly, this project is going to take longer to get it designed and make sure that we're giving you guys exactly what you want that it will take to build it. We'll be able to pour the concrete footings and get that all taken care of, and then within 30 days come in and erect the building. We just got to let the concrete develop its strength, and then erecting a building like this shouldn't take more than 30 to 60 days. So depending on how much input and how intricate we want to get on the design, that could probably be the longest duration. So if you guys said, yeah, we want you guys to give us we have a budget, we want you guys to kind of work backwards into this, get an architect involved, we could get something going the first of next week with getting people down here and talking through your needs and get a basic design and get that process going. So, if you have to have it for this coming school year, then we really need to get started probably right now so that we can get it designed so that we can do the construction this summer before your August school start. So, but,
Yeah, do we have an anticipated delivery date on the buses?
August the 1st. We've asked for August the 1st.
okay.
So, but we could push that back, for a few days. They always want them to come early, and I've said, no. We don't need them in July, so plan is the beginning of August.
They can
And they could
invoice
sit
in
outside.
December.
And they could sit outside for a few,
Yeah.
for a while.
But
So,
I think if we really hustled and did our due diligence, I think we could be pretty close by the 1st of July. Or, I'm sorry, 1st of August.
Any other questions? Roger, you've been involved in this project process. Do you have anything else that helps
Well,
understand?
the only other thing is, we had another company involved. Now, I know we didn't hear a presentation from them, and I'm not taking any fire out from you, but we had somebody else, and they weren't invited for some reason. I understand,
Well,
maybe this is where you wanted to go, that's okay.
They weren't a construction management company, they were a building company. And so they wouldn't, the things that Taylor can offer in managing all of those bids and things that are.
Your
approved.
architecture services, all those things on the front side. Then if you have a building contractor that you would like to look at this job, absolutely, we'd get them involved. And as long as they meet the specifications that we have all agreed to, we're happy to have them
So
bid the project.
That was the difference.
But they did a total package. They didn't have any subs.
Right, they did the total package, but they hadn't been vetted and approved through the state bid site.
Well,
So we
that's-
would have had to have, we couldn't just hire them to do the whole thing.
No, I understand.
We'd have
But
to
I
send out all the
just, I just
specs.
was bringing that up for common knowledge. Another thing, I think we're sidestepping here is, we don't know where our property line is for sure.
That's another thing. We'd get a survey company down here and make sure that they get this surveyed prior to finalizing the design and make sure that we're gonna have the limits, the parameters to set this building in there.
Okay, but we talked before, we're gonna have to have a variance.
Okay?
Is that not correct?
That's- well-
James, and we thought, we're gonna have to have a variance because we're not sure where we're at. So we gotta go before the Board of Planning.
Which I don't think was going to be an issue when we had
I don't
visited
think.
with them in the past. They had come out to look, so.
But, I mean, we gotta meet that meeting. I mean, we're jumping here a little bit.
Okay.
This is what concerns me. We gotta
Sure.
get that before we,
I talked to a surveyor today, and he's going out to Ness County Hospital. I just contacted him on Wednesday to do a survey. If that's something that you guys need done, I could certainly turn somebody around on that. Obviously, I'd let you know what those costs are and everything associated with it, but if we need to get a light survey done that you could take to the city council, I'm guessing is where you're going for your variance
no,
meeting?
you have to go to the Board
It
of
is
Planning, and they
Planning
meet
Commission.
monthly, so you have to meet them,
But the same.
and it may be next
Okay.
month. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that we could help you guys with that, no problem. Get somebody down here, get a survey, and get maybe a preliminary site plan drawn up that's just basically a Google Earth image that shows the limits of your guys' property and then the new building footprint. If we could say, all right, we feel like we're gonna go with a 50 by 100 building, we could lay that out on that sheet that you guys could take to the planning commission and they could help you with your variance. And, I'm sure that the architecture people that would help us probably have some experience dealing with that, and they might come and help you. I mean, I hate to speak for them right now, but
But it'd be cheaper to use a local survey than have to drag somebody from Wichita, obviously, would it not, or wherever?
I'm not gonna argue that. I don't know what the local people charge here. But there's a possibility. I mean, to lay out this new clinic addition is $1,200 to have them go to Ness City from Hutchinson. So, about the same distance. It's not, this one, it wouldn't be, about the same involvement, so, but we could certainly call around and help coordinate that effort with local surveyors as well.
You wouldn't have to make many calls.
So how many buses in a 50 by 100?
Job.
How much-
We would be able to fit 8 buses,
8 buses.
and then there would be an additional room for, so we could there'd be an additional bay, so that we could pull a bus in, so if maintenance needed to change a tail light or.
Now, we're just doing
check on
one
something.
concrete bay, is that correct now? Or did we change that?
Well, we haven't said anything up. That was
Okay.
something we talked about.
Well, when you said concrete, though, what were you
Well,
talking?
he's talking about the footing.
The
like
footings.
the
Okay,
footings.
so you weren't talking about concrete floor? Okay, I just want
All
to
we
make
did
sure.
was put footings
that-
in and then we talked about graveling the inside and maybe
Right.
out in the front. And
Right.
so to haul
Okay.
in some gravel.
I thought that was awful cheap for complete concrete. That's
Sure.
why I was wondering.
Yeah.
It was just all those footings so that,
Right.
because the way it's
With the
faced, so
wind
the
load,
pole doesn't,
yeah.
yeah,
No,
so
I
it
understand that.
doesn't blow the building away, so.
But that's the perfect example of why we all need to get together and put it on paper and write the specifications so that when we're going out and getting bids, that everybody's bidding apples to apples. We just came off of the project the window project that I was talking about down in Comanche County. Mike Baldwin was their superintendent, and he went out and he said, hey, I need to get these windows replaced in this school. And he got 5 different contractors involved. And he had everything from a wood-cased Pella residential window, clear up to double insulated low-E glass in clear anodized aluminum. So my point to that is that his range was from $150,000 to $300,000. And he said, well, I guess I'd go with this $150,000 contractor, but when you dig down into it and figure out exactly what he's providing, it was not anything that this school would have been interested in purchasing or installing in their school. So that's where we come in, vet the process, vet the contractors, level the bids, and make sure that we're giving you guys a turnkey solution that you'll be happy with.
If we were to go with this proposal, that would not impact the planning commission, because they're still gonna have to do that no matter whether we go ourselves or with a company like you, we still have to go to the planning commission.
That's correct.
So I don't think that should, my opinion, that should not deter us tonight from making a decision on whether or not we're gonna use a firm or we're gonna do it all on our own.
What if the planning commission said, no, you can't get that variance?
We
then?
haven't done anything with this company yet, right?
So there would be no charge. Is that right, Taylor?
Short of this cost of the survey and
Right.
some site plans, but yeah, it'd be
Which
minimal.
we could, yeah.
Yeah,
And we're gonna need the survey one way or another,
correct.
so.
And you're gonna need site plan more than likely one way or another.
it's Probably so.
So, yeah, I mean, we're all open book, and like I said, we're 5% overhead, 5% profit on something like this, so it's gonna be pretty cut and dry, and we'll keep, whoever Lori'd like to have involved, informed and apprised along the way in every step, so.
And so we're gonna know when we sit down, after we've done the specs, that the project's going to cost X amount of dollars. And then we know that 10% of that is, on top, is gonna be charged your fee. So it won't be at the end where I get a bill that's more than I thought, and then I have to pay more.
Right.
Because we will have agreed
Correct.
ahead of time what the amount will be.
Yep, we would, typically what we do is we do an AIA contract, and we write it in as cost plus 10% of the overall project. And then we'll develop the budget the whole way through to make sure we're gonna stay on track. I'm not an ESCO, so I can't guarantee a
Right.
price and guarantee savings.
But we'll do the budget as we go.
We'll do the budget as we go, and I've never had one that ran over the budget without a drastic change in the scope. And so we say, Lori, this is gonna cost you $150,000 to do this project. It's always $150,000 or less. And then, obviously, if it's less, it's 10% of the lesser number. So, but I can't guarantee
Right.
a price per the state law.
Absolutely. Well, and you never know, the prices
Sure.
change. So. Which
But-
would be no matter whether we were soliciting the bids or someone else was.
Right.
Yeah.
And this was just one option on the metal, it was all metal building. Honestly, that would be, in my opinion, maybe the best solution, but we could do for longevity, but we could do wood framed or several different types, whatever you guys decide on, whatever the budget fits.
Well, I think that also depends on the location. If it's adjacent to the district office, it's going to be, based on the perception of the school, I don't necessarily think we would want just maybe a metal shell building for its location and its perception of our district. Whereas if it's an outlier piece of property, I'd be 100% fine with just a shell metal building. But if
See,
it's gonna
that's
be-
what bothers me, because if we stick, like some of them talked, a 16-foot tall building, that's the same height as this. Some of the neighbors may want more. That's what I'm thinking about the planning commission. That's what bothers me there. I mean, we want to be good neighbors. I'm not trying to knock anybody, but now we did talk about wainscoting going a different color halfway up and doing a
Sure.
little bit. But we have no other, and we can't go, too far. That's the only thing. I don't mind it going there as long as, but I'm like you, I want it to look nice. If we're
Yeah,
gonna do it.
unless we go buy a piece of property somewhere else within the district.
Within the district. So,
But the only part about this one was when James and I was on, in the back of the DO, there's not really room to work height on any of their equipment. So the bay was gonna be right across from that last east door, and we could run utilities off of the school office and put that concrete bus
bay right
maintenance bay right there. That was the thought of that. But then when that other one come up, that's why I still would like to pursue that one out there, but I guess nobody else wants to, so that's that was, because it's a perfect building. And it would take care of athletics if we need to practice baseball, whatever out there. It's a big building. And I went and looked at the appraised price. I went out the counter and looked all over that building. But we'd have to annex it though. So that's that. And I did find this area out there. This is all 503 where we're at. According to the county at Oswego, it goes down 29th Street.
Down 29th Street.
So we own all of that.
Well, do we want to take action tonight? Or do we want to delay a month and check on what it would take to annex that property?
I think we better get it planning. If we're gonna talk about do it, we better see about planning or neighboring, because I don't know.
Oh, if you have to have it done by August 1st, we got to get going, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, we've talked about it, for 3 months, just,
We
and
have.
but we've
And there
been
was three
meeting
different-
people, and
Yeah,
there's been different.
we've met a lot of people, and there's different ways to do it, where James
We've
and I
looked
could,
at 3 or 4 buildings, but they're not,
they just don't.
they're
quite-
rough.
Yeah. So,
Now, there is a SAC building down here, but it has office space that I don't think would do us any good.
Okay, to move forward, then we either need a motion to go with this company or to table? Or something.
So the planning commission is gonna wanna see a survey and potentially a site plan.
possibly. We have,
Well, if we go before the planning commission, because we want a variance, we need to come within, what didn't the city guy, because we had the city building inspector out. And we need to be within that 10-foot space. We need to be back farther.
Okay.
Not sitting on the line,
Okay.
but we need to be back.
Okay.
So that's what we need it for. I don't think we necessarily need a site plan, I don't think. We will have to know where the line is for sure. Now, he said there would be metal pins there, is that correct, James?
He thought should be something.
But because it's a new enough layout. Now, they marked it where they thought it was, 100 and some feet from the center of the street up.
Okay, so we're gonna have to go before the planning commission, and it appears to me that they very well could possibly want a survey in order to, and we would want a survey, so we would know precisely what we're asking of them.
Exactly.
And so we're gonna need to get a survey. We're gonna need to go before the planning commission. And so we need to get that process underway, the survey process underway.
But we could do our own survey, correct?
Sure. Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know.
Who's we?
And
I
we
mean,
got
like,
the
we are.
district. We need to find out from the planning
Alright.
commission.
it would be, it would fall to James.
I think they've already met for this month.
So we need to find out when the planning commission meets. We need to know we need to explain to them what we need. And then
Yes.
they're going to tell us what they need from us in order to make a decision. So I think that's the first step, with the knowledge that we may need to get a survey pretty quickly.
So we're putting it beside the district office.
We don't have to, but I mean, if we're gonna look out and buy, I just know what that property was appraised out there, about 5.7 acres. It was 162, I think. And that was a big building and that many acres.
Okay, so yeah, that included the building. I just don't know what
Yeah.
acreage or if the city has any property, what they're available for acquisition.
Yes.
Well, I don't think we can waste much more time.
No.
So Taylor, if we said we want to go with you, we want to do our own survey, then at that point in time, we have incurred no expenses to you at this point in time. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So we do our own survey and the planning commission says you can't do it.
Well, but maybe there's some of us that think we ought to look for other sites now. Am I hearing that? You kind of,
I want to know what all the alternatives are.
Well,
I
we
mean-
had discussed at earlier meetings, purchasing a building that was already made, already built here within. And so, and as soon as that meeting was over in January, I contacted a real estate agent and.
Didn't go anywhere.
No, it didn't. And just because there aren't available buildings within our attendance boundaries.
Right.
And so then there are some that are outside of the attendance boundaries, but when I talked to KSDE,
Right.
we don't have a statute in which to purchase, lease, or build anything not within our attendance boundaries. So,
I thought the city just purchased the Larry Allen property,
I don't
which
know.
would be almost perfect.
If we were going to construct a brand-new building. Because what they currently have wouldn't.
No, it would be a building that you could move right into.
Out there where Larry Allen's at now.
Oh, where is that?
Because they're gonna move out north.
East.
East,
Where the old Larry Allen
Yes.
was.
Right, sorry, East Main.
So it would be their mechanic shop, because he's keeping his body shop, so you're talking
Keeping the body
specifically
shop,
of the
but-
the mechanic shop?
It's a-
Right.
I mean, that would have required some pretty significant probably renovation, just in order to have adequate space for 8 bays plus an additional.
All right.
But
So the short of it is, though, we're going to be building, sounds like regardless, whether or not it's by the district office or some other location. To me, that doesn't have a bearing on whether or not we're going to utilize their services.
That's my
Correct?
understanding. Correct.
Now, me personally, I think we need a project manager to go through this whole process for us.
I
Because
believe that's correct.
So I would make a motion to approve DUR DCS services.
Second.
Okay, motion by David, second by Jeff to employ a contract with DCS Services for the bus barn project. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Here's carries 7-0. Look forward to working with you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Okay, travel
I'll be in
safe.
touch tomorrow morning.
That'll be great.
And we'll get moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
10-minute break.
7.0,
This much
report
time
to the
on our
superintendent of
textbooks.
schools.
All right. Okay, so we just got back from spring break today, and so it goes fast after spring break. So our next regular board meeting will be in April on the 15th. On April the 19th, we will have Easter recess, and so that's a Friday, that's Good Friday. The following Monday, April the 22nd, that is our inclement weather makeup day, so we will be having class on that Monday, April the 22nd. Student last day is May the 15th, last teacher day is the 16th. A couple other things that we're really looking at as administrators and secretaries. We're looking at some online enrollment options for the 1920 school year. Right now, we send a whole lot of paper, and every year you fill out the same paperwork over and over. So we're looking at some online options that are available through our Infinite Campus. And so that's something, I think with the exception of our food service application for this next year, will be something that we'll be looking at doing those things online. We'll still have an enrollment day where everyone can come to the high school. So there'll be kiosks available and directions for how to roll that out and how to do that. But parents would get a letter, it would have a code with their, for their Infinite Campus. And then what they could do is go online, look at their Infinite Campus, make the updates or the changes that needed to be made, hit a submit button. The school secretary would know, okay, they're enrolled, these are some changes that need to be made. They could sign their forms online, so it won't be 50 pieces of paper, for every child. So that's something that we're looking at, which I think is exciting. We also will have some positions open available on the board in 2020. So if there are people out that would like to apply for those positions, there is a process. You'll need to, the filing deadline is June the 3rd, 2019 at noon. So we're going to have 4 positions available on the board. So, we've got some folks hopefully that will run again, but if there are others out there that would like to, that is happening. And then there was one other quick thing that I wanted to share. I got an email, and I got an email from Jim Porter. Jim Porter is on the Kansas State School Board. Yeah, it took me a minute there. And so he used to be the superintendent in Fredonia, but now he's on the State Board of Education. And he let us know, in the last few years, he's come to the middle school for a Challenge in Education Award. And this year, when I got the email, and every year he comes and he says, well, I've come to the middle school 2 or 3 years in a row. That doesn't happen a lot in districts. It's impressive. This year I got an email that said, in each of our buildings that was tested, they received a Challenger Award. So at Garfield, at Guthridge, at the middle school, and at the high school. And that gives me
Wow.
goosebumps.
That's great.
So that is great. It's good things are going on, so.
How's things going on the roof?
Oh, I wrote a little note. It's loud. Today there was a big boom and I went outside to make sure no one had gotten squished under whatever it was that had accidentally fallen over. So they are working very hard. It looks like by the end of the week, it should be finished. So that's exciting. They were getting things covered up in case it rains tomorrow. It'll be okay. So.
Any questions?
James, are the big pipes coming down, are those that downspouts that will be used?
Yes,
They're not
But they're-
overflow?
they will be covered with a, like a tan
Right,
metal,
facing.
yes. So that, they'll be a lot more appealing than they are.
I just
now.
wonder if those are emergency or the regular overflow.
That's the regular
Right.
downspouts. I don't think all of them are in right now. I think they just got enough. From when I talked to Walt, they starting on the front west corner and working their way back.
Anything else? 8.0 is report of Board of Education, the Tri-County Board meeting. It's been postponed till this Wednesday because everybody up there was on spring break last week, so I guess this month I'll have a 2-month report for you. 9.0, report of principals. Start with Mr. Swanson, Mr. Barkus.
All right, evaluations, we're hitting the second round of observations for those who get evaluated twice. I think April 9th is the due date on those, so we're getting into classrooms and finishing up those second rounds. State testing gets underway this week at the high school. We have English Language Arts on Wednesday. We have math the following Wednesday, and then science is April 4th and 5th. And those are the 3 areas that we test in. Forensics is underway. Early in the season, the weather was terrible. They only went to like 2 of their first 4 or 5, maybe 1 of their first 4 or 5 forensics meets. Alyssa Garlmacher has already qualified for state in HI, humorous interpretation, I think. So we have a state qualifier in forensics. And as it is every spring, it's now a sprint to the end with all of the spring sports, and Mr. Barkus will talk about those. Once they get going, if you've been in high school, and some of you have in the spring, it's just a sprint to May. It'll be here before we know it. So a lot of stuff going on.
Before I talk about spring sports, I'd like to go back a couple weeks and thank the community and everyone involved with our sub-state and our state basketball team. Again, our community is amazing. The outpouring that the team gets and the kids get. There's a lot of work involved from the district office, from the top to our maintenance crew. Everything looked wonderful. Ended up taking 3 buses to the state tournament, which was awesome. For spring sports, we have 5 kids out for golf, 13 out for tennis, 17 out for swim, 26 out for softball, 23 out for baseball, and 40 or so out for track. So that's over 100 kids getting involved in our spring sports. And if you look at our spring calendar for sports, there's a lot going on just about every day of the week. So
How
as,
many did
Mr.
you say,
Swanson
Rob,
said-
for track?
About 40, a little
Wow.
over 40. As Mr. Swanson said, I challenge you to, not challenge, but invite you to come down to any event you can get to. Kids love to see you, and they love the support, so thank you for that.
And I was going to say, to challenge you to go to something you haven't been to before. So if you've been to baseball but never seen softball, go catch a softball game. Something just kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit.
There's something different all the time.
Yeah.
Any questions for these 2 gentlemen? Thank you very much, guys. Mr. Cox, Mr. Gordon?
All right. Well, we've had the emphasis on positive contacts
with our shortened March schedule, with snow days and other things, we've had 142, but that's still more than what we've expected our staff to do. We expect them to give 2 a week each, and we've exceeded that. So year-to-date, 2,927 positive contacts with community, kids, just about everybody. So that's exciting. Middle school is getting ready, well, let me rephrase. Not the middle school. The middle school as a whole is being honored, but specifically Mr. Mazarel, and he's getting his award from the International Technology and Engineering Educators Association for a program of excellence on the 28th. So he's going to go down there and get his award, and that's really exciting to be able to see the project and the program grow. We had a spelling bee.
Wait, was that a national award?
It's an international award.
International award,
Uh-huh.
okay, I thought I heard
It's
that.
the parent company of the award that he won back in February in Branson. This is the larger corporation.
So like, who's gonna present it?
That's a good question. I haven't seen who is going to be there, but it will be one of, I think, I remember him talking to me, there was going to be one of 9 possibly awards that are going to be given out. I could be wrong in that, so don't quote me, but something along those lines.
Certainly the paper and TV will be there.
Probably, yeah. It'll be in Kansas City, Missouri, down at Crown Center at the hotel down there.
Dang.
Yeah, so it's a really big deal. So we're excited about his award. The spelling bee was held, the Kansas Spelling Bee. We had one participant, Davis Clark. That was held on March 9th. He went out in the 6th round. If he had made it one more round, he would have been in the top 13 spellers in the state of Kansas. So every year, he's been our candidate every year because he wins the county bee, and every year he gets better. So he'll have one more crack at it next year.
He'll be an 8th grader.
He'll be an 8th grader, and hopefully he can move on and make it to the qualifying rounds for the national bee. As the high school principal said, our state assessments are gearing up. We have 8th grade starting for reading Thursday and Friday of this week, and then from that point on, there's a state assessment of some sort going on every week for the next 4 weeks. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. Every month we come and we recognize a student at our school, the Viking of the Month, based on nominations from staff. This particular month, we were fortunate, well, we weren't, but Malik Ferguson, if you'd like to come up, Malik, have a seat over there for us. That way everybody can see and you're not towering above us. Malik was nominated because he is friendly to everyone. He makes good efforts. He sets an example for all kids. Specifically in the nominations, it was for 6th graders who are struggling with behavior issues. He makes a point to reach out to them and show them a different path. One of the teachers said that he's a good friend to all. He shows kindness in many different ways. Anytime he's ever asked to do something, he does it without question and is willing to help out anyone. So we were very excited when we got this nomination for Malik to come and join us tonight as our Viking of the Month. As an incentive and reward for that, he gets a $10 gift certificate to Bleacher Gear provided by the Elks. And so we'd like to give Malik a round of applause for his. And normally he smiles quite a bit, but he's a little nervous tonight because he's out in front of all of us. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gordon for the athletic side of things.
Well, hold on, I want to say
sorry.
something
Yeah, go
about
ahead.
Malik. I see Malik every day, and I want to echo what you said. He is a kind, good-hearted gentleman, and I appreciate what he does when I talk to him. He's always shown a lot of respect to me, and I appreciate that. So congratulations.
Good for you.
Good.
Congratulations.
Give me my $10, I'll see it.
For the athletics and activities, tonight was the first night for spring sports at the middle school to get started. So I went around and I collected the numbers track. We had 65 kids. We practiced at the middle school tonight. They're using that weight facility. There's enough room in there. I think they're going to use it once a week is kind of their plan, or if it's rainy out, they'll be at least able to get some of their athletes in there to get their practices in. Golf, we had 12 out on the range this evening. Boys tennis was 8. And our middle school chess just finished up on March 9th, so that's Saturday after we were already on spring break. We qualified 10 kids to go to the tournament in Emporia. And they competed in the K-8 division. There was 27 teams and over 200 competitors. As a team, we placed 15th, and we had 3 kids medal. William Durflinger took 57th, Timmy Chen 78th, and Lucas Fugate 83rd. Everybody else had at least 2 wins while they were there, which is successful. Mrs. Killingsworth wanted to reach out and thank you guys for all of your support and the community that she experienced this year. They're going to have their end of the year banquet tomorrow at the middle school in the community room. Fishing club kicked off this evening. We have 42 kids signed up, and so with that, he has a different night of fishing each night of the week, where he just takes another group out and they use local ponds. The next one, the last thing I wanted to kind of talk about that's exciting over at the middle school, we had conversations at the beginning of the year about how we can make it more easily available for the kids to be able to participate in the sport. Because one of the things at enrollment, we just hammered our secretaries with stacks of physicals. And so we thought, we had talked with Coach Houck. I've been in cooperation with Mr. Barkus. And so we're going to be able to give, and our nurses, we're going to be able to give free physicals to the kids at the middle school on May 6th. So I've got my coaches right now making a list of athletes that they know already participate and are going to participate next year. And they've been checking their shot records. So next month, we're going to put out the information to the community at the first week of April and start getting all of the signatures that we need, so that on May 6th, all of our kids that have any interest in playing sports from sixth graders on up to 8th graders for the following year, if we do it May 1st or after May starts, they will be eligible for all of next year's activities. So an 8th grader graduating, if he gets his physical here for free, then he'll be able to participate in track next year in the spring as a freshman. And so that's going to be done in-house. Anybody that misses it on that Monday, then we're going to arrange transportation from the middle school over to the high school, and they'll be able to join and get their physicals with the high schoolers. Mm-hmm. So we're going to try to get as many kids eligible to participate as possible, and we'll do it in-house this year.
Right. And then those dates will be in addition to the dates then in August, where we have the enrollment, where we've got 4 providers that are coming. So hopefully there won't be any backlog or any wait for anyone, because they can get it done early now, right there at the middle school on site, or at the high school, or then later at enrollment. So
yeah, and that's it.
Any questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.
And Mrs. Russell and Mr. Freese, elementary schools.
Good evening. Garfield hosted our bingo night on February 21st, and it was standing room only. We raffled off 3 family game night baskets and raised over $500 to go towards family engagement activities and science resources for our students. The 2nd grade recently went on a field trip to Greenbush, a science field trip. At our parent-teacher conferences, I thought we had a really good turnout. 2nd grade had 83% of their parents. 3rd grade had 81%. The day before spring break, we had our 3rd quarter awards assembly, and over 80% of our 3rd grade students made the honor roll. Our state assessments will start next week for 3rd graders. English language arts is March 26th and 27th, and then math, April 2nd and 3rd. And we do something special for our 3rd graders, since this is the first year that they ever take state assessments. We have a Breakfast of Champions. It's something that we started last year for them on Monday of next week. The 2nd graders decorate posters and do cheers for them in the breakfast room. And the tables are nicely decorated, and we have a special breakfast from OPA. And then through our little families, the leaders of the little families write personal test-taking encouragement notes for the 3rd graders that are in their little family. And then each of the 4 days that the kids test, every kid gets a note from their family leader each one of those days. And then the last thing, Garfield places a big emphasis on family engagement during our last 9 weeks of school by sponsoring a fun activity each month for families that's free. So we just finished our bingo night in February. In March, on March 26th, we'll have cookies and canvases at Garfield, sponsored by PTO. On April 16th, we'll have family science night with Curious Minds. And then on May 9th, we'll have our color walk at Forest Park. That's all.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Guthridge is starting our assessments tomorrow as well. 5th grade science assessments start tomorrow. And then 1st of April, we'll do our English language arts, 4th and 5th grade. And then April 8th, we'll do our 4th and 5th grade math. So it's assessment time. At the end of right before spring break, we did our award ceremony, and I'm impressed. You have 80% of your 3rd graders coming in. That's going to be great. We had 68% of our 4th graders made the honor roll, 28 made straight A's, and we had 48% of our 5th graders, with 22 of them getting straight A's. So we're going to hand off some good kids to the middle school next year. So we had 57% of our kids on the honor roll, which is really nice. And then, every year we've done a family night in March, and last year we did our own family science night. It was fun. We made paper airplanes and we made some slime, but then Ms. Falke sent us, so we are going to have next Wednesday, we will have our Curious Minds family fun night it'll be from 5:30 to 7:30, so if you guys want to come, Ms. Falke sent us, we've got to have some volunteers, and there's an hour for the training, so it's a little bigger than we thought, but it'll be better. So next Wednesday, the 27th, from 5:30 to 7:30, if you want to come see some kids have some fun science. Now, I don't know if they have paper airplane toss like we did last year, but we'll have fun. I'm sure I forgot something. I think that's all we got at Guthridge right now.
I have a question on the testing. Have there been any significant changes in the last 2 or 3 years on the format? And
It's
is it
gotten
all
smaller.
is it all open-ended?
No.
Or, untimed, rather?
No, it is untimed, but what used to be a 3-day, it's been cut down to 2 days.
Okay.
Like tomorrow, we'll do our 5th grade science. We anticipate we'll allow more time than an hour, but we think all our kids will be done in an hour. We don't have as much response as we had 2 years ago, where you had to write. So I think they've kind of made a smaller footprint, I'm trying to say. And we've tried to move away from making it a big deal. Our cheerleaders are going to come in April, and we're going to have kind of a little celebration. We start 4th and 5th grade doing it together. It's just 5th grade tomorrow, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because we've got 5 different classes. But we're trying to move away from maybe the anxiety. So our teachers, we used to do some fun encourager notes where we'd take pictures of staff, but we thought, kind of copying off your families, we'll have our 4th grade kids and our 5th grade teams partner up, so 4th graders will write things to 5th graders, and 5th graders will write things to 4th graders. We think it might help them be a little more supportive of each other.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you. Mrs. Gardner had a doctor's appointment today. Did she leave a?
She will have a report Friday in your packets.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, no old business. We'll move to new business. 10.0 is accept donations to the schools. It's page 33 of your handout.
Okay, so the district office received a check from the state of Kansas checkoff program from multiple taxpayers at a value of $31. Community Health Center of SEK made a donation towards lunch balances of $200 for a total of $231 at the district office. Garfield received from the elementary PTO for parent-teacher conference meals $150, and the basket fundraiser at Garfield for a field trip raised $353 for a total of $503. At Lincoln, there was an anonymous donation of bulletin board supplies valued at $50. Debbie Alvord donated frames for a value of $10. Elementary PTO donated to the parent-teacher conference meals for $175, so a total of $235 at Lincoln this month. The middle school, Upscale Country, donated Viking store supplies that valued $20. The Kansas Department of Wildlife donated fishing supplies to the fishing club for a total of $595. Ernesto's donated snacks for state testing valued at $20. Derailed Commodity donated popcorn bags for concessions at a value of $30, so a total of $665 there. Guthridge this month had a donation from the elementary PTO for parent-teacher conference meals of $150 total. At the high school, Wave Wireless made a donation for Honor Flight of $150. Power Flame made a donation for Honor Flight of $100. Beechner Grain made an Honor Flight donation of $200. Kimberly Morrow in memory of Charlie Bevins, an Honor Flight donation for $50. Bowen Pharmacy, an Honor Flight donation valued at $500. Wood Dooley Insurance, an Honor Flight donation of $1,000. An anonymous Honor Flight donation at $1,223. The Flesh Company donated to the Honor Flight $100. Richard and Sharon Ryan, in memory of Charlie Bevins, for Honor Flight donation $20. Strategic Partners made an Honor Flight donation of $700. An anonymous Honor Flight donation of $38. An anonymous music trip donation for the high school music trip that they're getting ready to take, $575. Another anonymous music trip donation of $165. There was an anonymous donation of band instruments valued at $350. Olivia Lyons donated an entrepreneurship donation, $67, and Roger Duroni a welding donation of $100 for a total of $5,338 donated at the high school this month. So it was a total school district donation for the month of February, $7,122.
Thank you. Thank you, folks, for donating. Any comments? Otherwise, accept the motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Jeff,
Second.
second by Joanne to approve accepting the donations. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. 10.1, action on the academic calendar. That's page 34 of your packet.
Okay, so the proposed 1920 academic calendar begins with students on August the 22nd and ends May the 21st. It features 3 days off for Thanksgiving, 10-day winter recess, a week-long spring recess in March. The calendar includes 168 days for students and 176.5 days for teachers. There are 8.5 teacher professional development days during that time. So the calendar also features 4 early release days for students so that staff can work on professional development and curriculum. Members of the calendar committee, and a special thank you to these folks for working on this: Rob Barkus, Kelly Bedore, Aaron Burke, Tambry Davis, Mary Fries, Tyler Gordon, Olivia Lyons, Kim O'Banion, and Michelle Smith. So the group met twice, and the first time we had 3 different calendars and kind of hashed out some different options, and then they took them back to their respective buildings and got input and feedback from staff, and then came back again with a few other changes, and the one that was selected is on page 34 in the packet.
How many teacher days did you say?
There are 176.5 teacher days. Right?
Yeah.
And you'll notice on this calendar, it says potential makeup days, in parentheses, at the board's discretion, with those 2 dates. So when I called to ask about makeup days and why we put that on there, since we use hours, we go by hours, and we have plenty of hours to meet the requirement, they recommend that you put 2 or 3 potential dates on the calendar as potential makeup days. That way, in case there is some natural disaster or some big event that happens, if there are makeup days that are listed as potential on your school calendar, the state board can then forgive that many days as well. So if we list 2 days, we could make up those 2 days, and if we needed more, the state would say, oh, those 2, they would say 2 more days we didn't have to make up. So that's why we do that.
And where's that listed? I apologize, I'm missing it somewhere here on the calendar.
Right under the 19th.
Oh, okay, got it. So April 20th and May 22nd?
Right.
Okay.
And so I put, hoping to clarify, we use the word potential makeup days at the board's discretion. So it doesn't mean we have to, it's up to the board whether we make those days up or not.
Questions, concerns? If not, accept the motion to approve the calendar as presented.
So motion.
Motion by David, second by
Second.
Joanne, to approve the calendar as presented. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. 10.2, action on recommendation for new K-5 elementary reading and language arts curriculum.
So Linda's got some information. She met with all the teachers at different groups and did the different
And what,
presentations.
there's three major companies that provide curriculum materials for elementary. It's Pearson, McGraw-Hill, and Houghton Mifflin. And we looked at all three of those series. We asked for samples. They set them out. They were in the buildings about 6 weeks. And then we had 3 presentations from all 3 companies. And the teachers came, I would say we had probably 90% of the teachers, elementary teachers, special ed, the specials, came to the reading presentation. So they had a good chance to look at the materials and then go look in their own buildings. The reason how we selected our choice of the 3 companies, we looked at Ed Research, which really, they take all of the series, look at what they're meeting for every one of them. One of the series that we looked at was brand new. There wasn't any research on it. And our primary grades, our K1, really did not think the phonics was strong enough in it, so we did not select that one. One of them, the online presentation, their online program does not work well with our iPads. We have it in the math and it just doesn't work. So what they selected was Wonders by McGraw-Hill. I realize that's a pretty high bid. It was a little higher than I had hoped it would be. I looked back, and 2 years ago, we did a math, and it was $100,000. And with reading, you have a lot more material because you have leveled readers, you have workbooks, you have just lots of other reading material. With this is included 6 years of materials. So instead of buying workbooks every year.
6 or 8, I'm sorry.
6, it's 6.
Okay.
I know it says 8 there, but it is 6 on the, is what the salesman told me. Are you reading off the bid, Olivia?
Reading off the.
No,
No,
it's
the way
just
it
an-
It might just be. a
Yeah,
typo.
it is 6 years. It is 6.
So that was just incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Sorry.
But they're happy with the online
The
part of it.
online piece, all 3 companies sent us their online piece, and lots of teachers got on and looked at all 3 of them. And there is a strong online piece. Wonders was their first choice of online, and then when they looked at the rest of the material and the research on it. And I met with every grade level separately, and then I went back and met with another 1 grade level because they were kind of iffy on, that wasn't the one they had selected, but 5 grade levels selected the same one. And then when I went back and explained the reasons why the other grade levels, one of the series, the research was pretty good till you hit 4th and 5th grade, and then it was terrible. It didn't meet the Common Core curriculum. So I was surprised. I thought we'd have to have some additional meetings to get down to 1, but they all pretty much chose the 1 series.
What were some of the swaying research factors that teachers went with this particular one?
Well, the online piece was one of them. One of the reasons, one of the companies is brand new. It was
Right.
there wasn't any research out about it, and they were kind of afraid of it. The other one, the reason it hit all grade levels. One of them only hit, like the K3, the research was okay. But when you went on to 4, 5, it was not solid at that level.
I guess what I'm asking, so the research shows that this particular,
Is better than the rest.
because,
It meets the standards and requirements.
not,
Yes. Okay, because of the phonics, because of all the Common Core, that it hits what is in the curriculum.
okay.
The Ed research does.
So it has all those basic building blocks to learn how to read when they're little, and then it's got good, when they get older.
Supplemental and-
Right,
yeah.
supplemental things, but then when they get older too, then there's the opportunity for, some more critical thinking, and those kinds of things are involved. It ran more the gamut, those things.
Any other questions? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the purchase of McGraw-Hill's Reading Language Arts Series.
So moved.
Second.
David, second by Joanne, to approve it. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 7-0.
And we
Very
do
much.
have one more in service on April 25th. And if this was approved tonight, we can get the books here and get a national presenter to come in and introduce it to teachers. So then they can take, that was a request of a lot of teachers. Let's decide early so we can take the books home over the summer and get something established so they don't come in August 15th trying to figure it out.
To a brand new series.
I think it's almost paying it forward to be able to have a great foundation, to be able to start them off for our future testing.
You saved the best for last, Linda. I said we even voted for it before you told us that.
8 years was better than 6 years, though.
It was.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
We got 6.
Item 10.3, discussion possible action on grade school camera project. Ben?
Okay, and if you want to turn over to page 46 on the back of your packet, here's where all that information is. That had been,
I know we discussed this last
we did, and this is.
session, so I'm just here for questions, or I think Lori was looking for action on this.
This was sent, we talked about this at a couple different board meetings, and this had been put out in a view in February. I felt like this was something that we needed to look at and determine if this is something you want to move forward with or not.
At the very least, I would highly suggest buying the bigger hard drives, which should be, I think, on the bottom of that page.
Right.
So
That would
if
be-
we did nothing else, that would at least aid us in all locations. So
And that would give us more recording time,
better quality,
better
more
quality,
options.
More options.
And how much is that total then roughly?
That's $5,300 just to upgrade the DVRs. Is that what they're called? Yeah.
Yes.
The DVR hard drives.
Ben, I noticed that if we do the upgrade red and upgrade blue, you add those together, that we get a significant discount for doing both.
No matter if you do just red or just blue, we have to buy a new network switch that can do what's called power over Ethernet. So we don't have to actually run power cables to the cameras, just an Ethernet cable. So if you do just red, we still have to buy that. If you do red and blue, we still have to buy one. Or if you do just blue, we have to buy one. So it's not a discount if we do both together. It's just that cost is only added in once.
Okay.
I tried to reflect that at the beginning of it, but I know sometimes it's lost on when you just have to write it down, so.
Total cost is somewhere around $33,000. Correct?
And that would be without having to purchase additional DVRs. It's maxing out what we have now.
That total cost $33,000 would be if you went both red and blue.
Yes,
So this is all being done in-house, correct?
correct. Yeah, we'll be running the cables, and this is just the cost of the cameras, the hardware, and the cabling. But in terms of the man hours, or if we have to buy special tools to get through a wall,
Okay,
we
so-
didn't plan on.
So my point is, in regard to, have you conferred with any of the police officers, SRO officers, in regard to locations?
No, this covers kind of what we discussed last time in the executive
Well, I
session,
understand
which
that, I'm
is
just saying,
from a security perspective, so.
Did the principals ever have any input?
No, but I mean, if we actually go, and again, this is I would suggest, if I had to give, the hard drives would be priority number one, and then red would be priority number two. And then the blue is just filling out what we have. And if the principals decided they don't, the playground isn't important to something else, we'd be flexible on that.
Okay.
But the red placement gets us up to where we want to go.
But the hard drives is what we really need.
I would love to get action on that.
Okay, now, I've seen some of the pictures. Do the hard drives help? Because when you look at the definitions on those cameras,
And some of that's the age of the camera, but it's also, you have to, when you have so many cameras per DVR.
Oh, I
you have to set
understand.
the quality in a certain range.
Right, it goes
So if you have
down.
more space, we can up that, but since we don't, we can't really play with that right now either. But these new cameras that we'd be adding would be a lot higher quality. And that's just because they're so much newer. I mean, they're pretty much the level of what cameras were when we got them, but because technology is advanced, I mean, they cost about the same as they did, but they're such a higher quality just because they don't even offer really the low quality cameras anymore.
So if we went with a red or a blue, would that also include the updated hard drives as well? Or is that?
No, I just did the hard drives as a one global project, so.
So it's separately, it's not rolled into the red or blue?
Yeah, it's on top of it.
Yeah.
In addition to, okay.
And now that switch that we would need, we'd need one of those for each location?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's 1,550 times
30.
2650.
And so it appears to me that if we did the upgraded for Lincoln, Garfield, Guthridge, we did the upgraded hard drives, and we purchased each of those switches, that would be $35,165.
Whoa, you mean you counting red and blue?
Yes,
there?
If we just went straight down the upgraded line and did it that way.
I think there's other things we need besides that. We have no long-range plan for replacement of aging facilities or windows. I'm not against the upgrades.
Correct.
When you
And I
talk
was-
about this much, I'm talking about the windows, and I've harped this before, in Guthridge and Lincoln are very poor quality. Single pane, leak, have 2 locks, some of the locks don't even work, and
that would-
nothing's been
And
done.
that's something that we really will need to address at the end of this year, the beginning of next year, doing that strategic plan, and a part of that being that long-range planning, so that when our bond and interest payments are finished, that that we're ready to invest.
But, I mean, there's other things I know we need besides that,
There could be
besides the high end. I mean, in my opinion, as walking around and seeing these buildings.
So what would you like to see done with this? Nothing?
No, I'd upgrade the DVRs and buy the PoE switches. Do that would be fine, just the basic, and see what.
Well, the switches are needed to support the cameras.
Oh,
So if you
so
don't get
never
any
mind.
cameras, you
Okay.
don't need the switches.
Okay, well then I'd say just for now.
And again, red is security and blue is for student, just kind of
Supervision.
supervision, correct.
Comments from anyone else?
I think I would go with the security red option, rather than just ignoring that. That was our reason for doing this. We were doing this rather than spending more money on other security items. And so.
What's their cost?
And again, the blue are just kind of, and that's why there's a different number per building.
Yeah.
Because red gets us up to speed everywhere, and then the blue is just however many we can get to max out our DVRs, to where we don't have to purchase more, so.
So what's the total of the two then, if we do the red and the DVR?
Nobody's working on
I'm
it.
working on it right now.
The blue could be added later.
They could.
Correct. Especially if we already have the red in there, we already have a switch, so then it's just running cable and,
That was about 20 grand, I think.
doing that. And I mean, and we, the Ethernet cable isn't that expensive. I mean, we can order it all at once and we can have it on hand. I mean, we use it for other things as well, so.
Switches and then that. So it looks like now, when it says red, there's the basic red and then there's the upgraded red.
And that's for the 2 types of cameras. If you want just kind of, a more, if you want the higher quality video, more, I mean, so even a basic quality camera right now is higher quality than what we already have. And if you want to, I just didn't know what your funding was available, so if you had more funding, we could get even higher quality cameras, but both would work.
But like you said, the cameras are so much better now.
Correct. Even the base cameras
Yeah.
now are better than,
Well, let's go with maybe the basic.
3,
6.
It's
Yeah,
20 grand.
22.5
9,000.
is what I came up with. Well, as far as the upgraded.
Yeah. Basic's about 20. So 20 versus 22.5.
Yeah, if I'm spending 20 or 22.5, I'd spend the extra 10% to have assuming more functional as far as being able to
correct. It's
identify
basically
faces.
one model up.
Especially for
So,
security.
Yeah. Otherwise, again, it kind of gets back to Roger's point of, why have cameras if they really aren't being able to identify anybody in the first place?
So it looks like to me with the upgraded cameras, with the switches in each of the buildings and an upgrade to the DVR hard drives, that would be a total of 22.5, 22,490. And then if we went with the basic cameras, the switches, and the DVR hard drive, it's right at 20. It's 19,940.
that sounds correct.
So
Does anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I would make a motion to do the red-only upgrades for a total of $22,490.
Second.
Okay, red-only upgrade with the DVRs added, and of course, the PoE switch bit tab. So
490.
490. Okay, that motion by David, second by Jeff. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign?
No.
6-1. Thank you.
thank you,
Okay.
Ben.
10.4, action on lease return buses.
Okay, and I'm sure you knew that on the board meeting had initially been listed as March the 25th instead of March the 18th. And so that kind of put a little kink in these types of bids. So our bus bids, we closed our bus bids today at 4:00 this afternoon. These were leased, returned, or used buses. Sent out the specs last week and was able to take those via email. So these were the 3 that were turned back in. These are for 4 buses total, 3 route buses. The goal had been to stagger the fleet so that we would have buses that we could then have a long-range plan, like Roger talked about, rotating buses on and off. And then having a bus that was a little bit older that could be a spare in case we needed it for extra transportation or something was getting worked on. So we did have 3 different companies that responded to the bid specs. There was one group that was able to meet all the specs by giving, a varied fleet, and then others right there as well. So Midwest Bus Sales, which that's who we purchased our new buses through. And those are Thomas buses. There was how they were able to meet the bid specs and, stagger the fleet. We received, Masters Transportation made a bid with Thomas buses as well. 3 of those being a 2016 model that they had available, and then 1 2014. So, and then Midwest Transit was able to make a bid with international buses, with 1 2014, and then they had 3 2018 buses available.
And how many miles did these have on? Does that make any difference? So we don't,
I have the particular bus specs.
I'm just curious if we're bidding on.
Yeah, what type of condition and mileage are we
Well, and the
talking
thing-
about?
Has anybody seen these?
Seen the actual buses?
Yes.
No. So, but we did send out the bid specs, and in the bid specs are included, the condition, the mileage, the usage, those kinds of things. So I'm assuming that.
What did the mileage say?
Let me
okay.
pull up I had a whole big, I didn't realize it was so many pages until I went to print it out today. It was 20 pages.
Where are these at? Wichita?
Different places, like the international group.
Well, the Midwest, the one that met all the specs. Where are they?
That's-
Where are those buses at right now?
where are the actual buses?
Yes.
The company's in Bonner Springs, and so some of these buses will be buses that, wherever they might be. I don't know if they're sitting on Bonner Springs lot. I know that when we sent the bid specs, they had to go through their inventory to see if they had something that met it. So, but they could have inventory at a variety of places that they bring in. At any of these. So, let's look and see. I'd asked for different kinds of fuel tank, rear axles, tilt.
My question about mileage was if they all, what were the miles that we're buying there?
Or that we're actually buying on those?
Yes.
They meet our spec on mileage.
They meet the spec
Well,
on
but I was
mileage.
asking, what is the spec?
Okay, all right, you want to know what spec is.
Let me look.
Because the spec, if you have an 18 with umpteen thousand miles on it, I mean, you shouldn't, but
Okay, so what, am I missing it somewhere? I know it's in here. It's 20 pages worth of stuff. Do you see it somewhere? I haven't seen it yet. And then there was, and so maybe that was in the initial letter that I sent out. And I cannot find that right this second amongst these 20 pages worth of information. Tell you what kind of fuel tank. So used buses, what I'd asked for, it looks like here, to spec, was anything from 5,000 to 14,000 miles. So.
Per year?
Well, for a 2018, if that was something that they wanted, to do. And it looks like everything else was under 79,000, so less than 80,000 miles. So,
Would we have an opportunity to review these buses before actually taking possession of them?
I'm sure that could be arranged, yes.
I'm sure they haven't got them picked out yet.
No, just.
I mean, they've got hundreds of buses, and so you're gonna
It would be
get
somewhere.
what meets the spec, and
It's in their
what I would
inventory.
anticipate. Call them up right now, they would say, well, we don't
What are
have
these
these.
known did not meet the spec?
Well, because
Is
like
that that particular bus, or is?
It's just that particular company, when they sent things through. Like there was, so one where it says no, it could have been that they didn't have LED lights available. There was one group couldn't do the
So we
LED.
don't know what didn't meet the spec.
Right. One was LED lights, and the others, the reason this says no right here in this column is that we didn't get a staggered fleet. So, and you can always go through and add LED lights or add those additional things at an additional cost, but
Are these bids good for 45 days?
they are good for 45 days. So if you'd like for me to get some more information,
Do you
I
think
can,
we could have a transportation director in place in 45 days?
in 45 days, I don't know if we can have them in place in 45 days or not.
Or a sheet? I don't know
He or
why
she,
they say
right.
that, Because
Either
it
or.
could be a sheet as
Right.
well.
We'll have to look at kind of a job description and different things, then we'll have to advertise, to see who we can
I
get an
really think we
interview.
need a transportation director.
We
That's
do.
with the new buses, we.
With everything going on, I do. And you said we're gonna hire one in April, is that correct?
Well, we were going to talk about adding that to the agenda, yes, in April. Talking about new positions, because that would be a new position that would need to be added.
And you're thinking probably full-time?
When I look, I don't think we're going to need a full-time
Okay.
transportation director. I really don't.
So it'd be.
I think there's going to be
probably-
a lot of time on the front end, just simply in that you've got to get driver's files ready. They'll need to, do some work for
Training.
professional development, the training that they'll need to do. But I do not feel like that'll be a full-time position.
Do we have a written commitment from the mechanics up north or up west?
I thought
We don't have a written commitment, we have a verbal commitment. He's already, the people that we bought the buses from, our new buses, have been in contact. They're going to come down and visit, so, yeah.
I mean, do we have a contract with them?
No, it'll be as an on-needed basis. There's an hourly rate that he charges, and so.
I guess I'm thinking in terms of a retainer fee type of thing. Okay.
So if we were to go with the same company we bought new buses from, that's the first one. Then there are those other two options as well. One has Thomas buses and one has International buses. It would be nice, I think, for our mechanic to have the same buses
And
throughout
that
the
is
fleet.
Thomas.
But that's, And I do like having some buses that are staggered in years, just simply so that we can, like Roger said, have a long-term plan for every 2 years, replacing a bus, rotating one on or off.
Okay, on this, how come we just didn't order this on the original deal?
Because that's not a new bus. The new buses that we've ordered are 2020s.
Oh, okay, so this is a okay, slightly used.
Slightly used, very slightly used.
Well, Thomas meets the specs. And like you said, the staggered buses.
So these have any kind of warranty on them?
They do. They've got different kinds of, two of the places sent the warranty. The Midwest Bus Sales that sent the warranty, their warranties are similar to the new buses that they had. And then International, those are the same as well. They were very long. But like Jeff said, they don't have, what they'll do is they'll look at their inventory everywhere and see, if they have things that'll meet the specs, and they do, so. But it isn't necessarily that they have this bus picked up,
But they don't know, but we don't know the condition. I mean, the condition is what I'm curious about. Will there be tears in the seats?
No,
Will
I
that
mean,
be fixed?
that-
I mean, will it be slight dents? Because some of that is acceptable. When you buy certain kinds of machinery, like on Purple Wave, and some of that by age, there's those things. And that's just what I was curious about.
Yeah, me
Right.
too.
And we
If you
surely
just
don't
get
want
the-
that,
Yeah, that's,
and I feel
if we have the right to,
to refuse.
I mean, if we're going to pass it with the right to refuse, I don't have any problem with it tonight, but I just hate to get, surely the guy wouldn't hook you,
And I really don't think that any of these three
But-
companies would do that.
but,
They hurt themselves down the road if they
yeah,
do
but
too much to
that-
you.
we're stuck with them though, too.
Yeah, I'm with Roger. As long as condition-wise, that's important, just as
As long
important
as
as
they're
the
in good
mileage.
shape and everything's like you say it, but we've never done this before, so.
We haven't. But I do feel like any of these three companies are reputable companies, and they're going to work, to get our business and then to maintain our business. I can't imagine that any of them would bring something that,
Well, I wouldn't say bad, but you know what I mean, if something's not quite like it should be. As long as it's gonna be taken care of, I don't have a problem.
I think it would be.
I'm ready to go on it tonight.
Okay.
Was that a motion?
Who would you like to go with?
Oh, I'd say the Thomas, wouldn't you, if this is staggered?
Midwest?
The Midwest Bus Sales.
Because that's who we bought from, Midwest Buses.
That
right?
is. And so then we'd be working with the same.
And if you look price, I see it,
There is a difference, however, one's
230, yeah.
one's got a staggered fleet, and then we're working with the same people, which would probably make it easier for the mechanic as well. in regard
So
to-
do you have copies of those warranties?
I do. They're
Okay.
very long and lengthy.
As long as you feel,
I do.
I just kind of like to know what's
Is the
covered
same
and
guy
how
you
long.
bought the new ones from, the same guy that's handling this?
Yes, he is. And in fact, he was going to come this evening. He said, well, I can be at the board meeting and answer any questions if you'd like for me to be. And the founder of Thomas Bus, I showed up in Bonner Springs today, was there for something, and so he wasn't going to be able to get out of the office until after 5:30.
Okay.
I move that we go with Midwest Bus Sales.
I second.
Okay, motion by Joanne, second by Roger to accept the bids from Midwest Bus Sales for the 4 school buses. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. 10.5, possible action on Honor Flight program enhancements. In a meeting with Honor Flight folks, they want us to have a specific Honor Flight website. Can be linked through the high school, but they want a specific site. We're working on that this time, not a problem. They also want us to have a PayPal account. And they think that folks will give more money if they can put it on their credit card than if they write a check. And if we want to apply for their grants in the future, we'd have to have a PayPal account. That PayPal account would be made payable to Parsons High School Honor Flight. And so we'd like to have permission from the board to establish a PayPal account at the high school for Honor Flight.
Now, is there any legal obligation to us at all?
No.
What about fees associated with PayPal?
3%.
So like if I made a donation, or if you know of someone who wants to make a donation, they have to go through PayPal? Or
They
can
don't have to. They don't have to.
No, you
Oh,
can pay the
okay.
cash and
You
it
still
would
pay,
save
you
us
still write a
3%.
check to
Oh,
Parsons
okay.
High School Honor Flight, but if they want to go through PayPal, they can, but it's not required. It's just an option.
Okay.
So you then, or someone that you are working with is working on the website and then would get the link and then the account set up with PayPal and all that? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And is that money deducted automatically? Is that 3%?
Yes. Yeah. So if you write a check for $200, they're going to take the 3% before they send us a check.
But it is a requirement to have a PayPal account in order to be eligible for the grants
Yes.
in future years.
Yes.
And so that's
So we have to.
really,
And I think we'd still have a lot of people do it the way we're doing
Yeah,
it now.
I do
but
too.
we-
Yeah.
But we have that option
Right.
that if
but in
they,
this way, we're in compliance, so when it's time to apply for the grant,
Yeah.
we've met all the
Because
requirements.
the grant this year would be a $15,000 grant if we get it.
oh,
So it's,
So basically, we're just making a motion to do what we need to do to make
that's
Okay.
okay.
Honor Flight International happy.
Okay.
I so move.
Motion by Roger,
Second.
second by David to approve the setting up of a PayPal account through Honor Flight. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion same sign, carries 7-0. Action on replacing the middle school kitchen floor. Mr. Ramsey, you're up, sir.
And we have some pictures, except, okay, oh, you turned it on. Watch this. It worked before we started. Practiced. And so if you want to go ahead and visit before the pictures come up, that'd be fine. I think it would work.
The machine came on. There we go, we're getting it now.
You the clicker?
I do have the clicker, and I practiced, so I'm ready.
Hard to see, is it get better?
It is, it does get better than that once, I think the projector, once it gets warmed up.
Okay.
That's the current middle school floor. If anybody's been in the kitchen over there, it's a painted floor. Excuse me. It's probably been painted 30 years. Paint's probably a 1/4 inch thick on it. We're kind of, I guess you'd say, grandfathered in on the health inspections and stuff. But what we did to the Garfield School, we did an epoxy. They come in, they grind off all that paint, and they put a epoxy floor. They'll seal it down where moisture won't come through. And then they'll put epoxy on, and they'll throw this agar in there, different colors. The pictures does no justice to what that floor
Doesn't.
looks like
You
over
can kind
there.
of tell in this one particular picture, because it is a beautiful, I mean, you don't really.
How
think
long does
beautiful
a new
kitchen floors.
floor typically last with this? It's not like the terrazzo, I assume.
No, it's not. I asked Ed about the seal, because there's a final, like a gloss seal on it. and that is 10 to 20 years.
Depending on the wear and the.
Yes.
And the so this would be underneath all the kitchen equipment.
Right.
It would be
All that have to be
everywhere.
moved, so.
Yeah, everything's gonna have to be moved out.
And so our,
When we did Garfield over Christmas break,
nice.
we removed everything out of there. And of course, Garfield was a small kitchen, so it wasn't a whole lot. Middle school would be a little bit bigger undertaking.
so that would be
I
an
wonder why
after.
that wasn't done at the time of the renovation. I'm just thinking.
I'm just assuming money, I'm not sure.
Probably money. But you can look and see that middle school
Yeah,
floor and, you know, and the amount of time it takes our maintenance group each year. They go in and they paint over it.
terrible.
It does.
So, once we would get the new floor, do you not coat it? There's no wax, we don't wax it at all, correct?
No, no, you don't have to do anything to it.
We just wet mop it, go
Yes.
back with it, so we never seal it again?
No.
What about in 10 or 20 years? When can you put another layer of coating to
I think it's
reseal
gonna
it?
depend on how it wears. Like at Garfield, I'm real confident that you'd just put another clear coat on. To be really honest with you, I think the middle school would wear harder. It gets more use over there.
And they're actually
So I
cooking,
think you're probably may have to go back and redo it. Just because, they're cooking over there, you got what, 7 or 8 ladies over there working and dropping stuff on the floor. So I really think it would probably be the one that you'd have to redo totally.
How many square footage is in that kitchen? Does that go out to the back door?
It's
Does that include that out to the
1,680.
back door?
Yes, It-
All the way out?
it'd be everything that's in that
All what?
kitchen.
Going out to the back door included, where the teachers used to eat?
No, that's already tiled.
Okay.
That was done during the renovation on the top. It's what they used to call the scrape room when I worked there.
Okay.
And this is just primarily just in the kitchen.
Kitchen only.
The restroom was redone, so it doesn't have to have anything, or the office. It's just the kitchen underneath all the cooking appliances.
Well, the hospital has some non-slip sealer. Is that non-slip sealer or is it,
Yes, it is.
okay,
That aggregate makes it non-slip,
that's good.
but it doesn't make it difficult to
Right.
clean.
It doesn't.
No,
That's safe.
I've actually looked at Garfield's over spring break because I wanted to see if there was showing some dirt, it's been 3 months. And it looks real good, just like the day we put it in.
What would you estimate are the man hours that you all spend getting that prepared every summer?
I know when I did it, years ago, we probably spent between 10 to 15 hours, be between 2 and 3 people.
So approximately 25 hours, man hours?
Yeah, because by the time you scrape it and mop it and everything, and then a lot of it's hand painting, you get on your belly and paint.
And it looks like that by the time we get to spring break.
Yeah,
So if you got 10 years out of it, you're talking about 250 man hours, 300 man hours that you've saved.
That could be spent doing something else.
and not counting, I think we used about 7 gallons of paint, so you're talking probably $40 a gallon if you bought nice paint.
So long range, it's going to be probably at the worst, a wash to 16,000 or a savings.
And I really do believe that at some point, the health inspector is going to say, hey, this is not going to pass anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Because all reality, the red chips, the ones in the past used to come in and sign us up on that, and we would have to go in there and repaint them. So at some point, I'm sure that's not going to be accepted.
And this floor also has that moisture mitigation system as well. I mean, that's like an extra stuff they put down that helps wick that water away.
They
right?
put a clear coat on the beginning of it, so it'll keep it. I thought I had a picture of it, but maybe I don't. No, I didn't put one.
But that's included in that total $16,000
Yes.
price, so.
Any other questions for James?
move that we replace the middle school kitchen floor.
I second.
Motion by Olivia, second by Roger to do the work on the middle school kitchen floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0.
Great.
Okay, stay right there, James. Action on a tractor.
Feel like I'm asking too much tonight. Our current tractor was purchased actually the same day I started, so back in July of '89. We're looking at about a 30-year-old. It's getting harder and harder to find parts for. It is a John Deere. It kind of helps, but, it's slowly getting there. Out of date. The bucket's bent. When you scoop dirt or something, it won't scoop flat anymore.
It leaks.
Yeah, the hydraulic cylinders leaks on the front. The controls leak. Again, it's a two-wheel drive. I mean, at the time, that's what was available. The bucket doesn't have a quick connect, which would be nice if we had like a set of pallet forks. Right now, currently, we unload semis by hand down there at the shop. So it'd be nice to have something to be able to get out of the back of a semi.
And so a new tractor would be used to unload some pallets, and what else? Like snow?
Uses for a new tractor, obviously, they mowed all of our large fields. The snow removal, the tractor is one of our key components in that. The little mowers does some, but this is what does your big lots and stuff. We do repair our gravel driveways and other gravel areas with it, with the box blades. We're constantly using it to haul heavy stuff, to lift heavy stuff, and to haul dirt and gravel. And also our football fields, we have an aerator that fits on the back of the tractor. It's a 3-point hitch that we aerate, kind of a vertis slicer that'll slice it, that we use a tractor for. So the tractor is we do use a lot of it.
What do these bids include? Is it a bucket, a mower?
A mower, a blade, the pallet forks, and they would have the quick attachments for the buckets, and a sunshade. And we're also asking for a weather guard, which would, if you've seen our tractor in the wintertime, we put this big plastic thing around there to kind of keep the driver warm. You'd have to have, a new one for the new style. We're also asking for a trailer. Currently, the only way we haul the tractor, it drives it down the road. Sometimes it gets kind of hairy on ice. We've had it stuck on the Corning underpass there. And, I've been on it personally, where I turned the corner and hit the opposite curve. Just depends on the weather. But of course, again, a 4-wheel drive would help that out.
Are these prices for all that then?
Yes.
We're seeing, okay.
And this is Kubota.
I have one for Roman's Kubota over in Independence. There's one for Anderson's Kubota and one for John Deere, which is Heritage. Used to be the O'Malley's over in Pittsburgh.
Is there much of a difference in the manufacturer warranty between the Kubotas and the John Deere?
They're pretty much the same. To be really honest, John Deere used to be the great one to grab because they had a great government contract, pricing.
Thank you.
Now Kubota's able to do that. So that's why the prices are all pretty much the same.
Does this include that education discount we were taught, or do they have that anymore?
They call it a government discount, so that's probably the
Okay.
same thing you're
Right.
talking about.
And that
yes,
includes that?
Yes, this does.
And the top bid was for the one at Romans, correct?
Romans was a.
Lowest bid.
Lowest bid. And John Deere actually was the highest.
But Romans, the difference between the Romans and the Anderson were exactly the same, except the bid price, correct?
The Anderson was about $1,000 higher than
Yes,
Romans.
but the equipment, there wasn't
The
any
equipment was the
variance.
same.
Well, I'm sure you need it. I mean, I've
Oh, yeah.
been around
30
that
years is a
machinery a
good-
lot. So, and if the other one's that many years old, it's,
Doesn't sound safe either.
I so move.
Motion to go with the independence bid?
The Romans.
Romans.
Kubota.
The lowest bid, yeah, the Kubota.
Which is $32,279. Is that right?
That's what our other mower is, a Kubota, and they've had good luck with.
Okay, there's a motion by Roger. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joanne. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Executive session, we'll need to talk about negotiations and employee, non-elected personnel. I'm thinking 30?
Thank you, James.
Thank you, guys.
30 minutes should take care of us. So if I could have a motion to go to executive session for 30 minutes.
I so move for 30 minutes.
Thank you, Roger. Motion by Roger.
Second.
Second by Olivia to go to executive session for 30 minutes. Under all those requirements of COMA, we will go into session for 30 minutes at 7:53. So we'd be back here at 8:23.
How do we know that they're all off?
So, oh yeah. We're back in session. 10.9, motion to approve negotiation agreement with PNEA. You've seen what we have to negotiate. We need to have you all approve it.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jeff,
Second.
second by Joanne to approve the letter to PNEA. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Action to extend contracts for district managers and directors for 2019-20 year. Lori?
Okay, I've got Ben McGuire as the Technology Director, Tanya Phillips, Business Manager, and James Ramsey, Maintenance Director.
I move to approve.
Motion by Olivia,
Second.
second by David to approve those three contracts. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Action on personnel, starting with resignation for retirement.
Okay, we have two of those. Brenda Butler, Middle School 8th grade Language Arts, to retire at the end of this year, and Lenny Thomas, the Middle School Head Custodian, effective May the 31st.
Motion to approve. Motion by Jeff, Second by Olivia to approve those resignations for retirement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Resignation from employment, we have 3.
We have 3. Taylor Bradfield, Title I aide at Lincoln, effective March the 7th, 2019. Jessica Pearson, Guthridge fourth grade teacher, effective the end of the 18-19 school year. And Jenna Graff, Guthridge fifth grade teacher, effective the end of the 18-19 school year. And Jessica would be leaving because her husband is transferring up to Kansas City, and Jenna's husband is being deployed overseas, and so she's moving back to Pennsylvania.
Move to approve.
Motion by Olivia,
Second.
second by Jeff to accept those resignations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Recommendations for employment.
Okay, so this is what we've got this month. Paul Deroni, high school head golf coach, effective 18-19. That would be this year. Matthew Goltz, high school custodian, effective March the 18th of 2019. Wes Kroll, high school assistant track coach, effective 18-19 season. Matt Shields, middle school head golf coach, effective the 18-19 season. Deontay Wade, high school assistant track coach, effective the 18-19 season.
Any discussion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Jeff,
Second.
second by Olivia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Any board member requests? Declare the meeting adjourned at, looks like about